So today we're going to talk about section 9.3. As we're going through section 9.3, we are going to look at solving our linear equations. So this list of steps that we see here are the same 5 steps that we saw in the previous section. The difference is in the previous section, for the most part, we focused on step 3 and step 4. In these cases, in these examples, the first couple of ones that we're going to do in example 1, we're still going to focus on step 3 and step 4, and then we're going to talk about how we're going to use all of them as we walk through the last few examples for example 2. So as we're looking at and as we're going through and solving problems that where we're asked to solve equations, first thing we're going to want to do is look for parentheses. If we have parentheses, we want to use our distributive property to remove those. Then our second step is if we happen to have like terms on the same side of an equation, we want to go ahead and combine those. So we're going to simplify each side of our equation separately and combine those like terms as needed. All right, then step 3, we're going to get all variables on one side of the equation and numbers on the other. Again, in this step, we're focusing on addition and subtraction. We can choose left or right. We can choose variable versus number. It doesn't really matter. As long as we end up with all of our number-only constant terms on one side and all of our variable terms on the other side. And then we finish it off in step 4, get the variable alone using division. And then in step 5, again, we can always plug our solution into the original equation to check and make sure that we have the correct answer. Okay, so for example 1, we're going to solve these multi-step equations. And we're going to start with 9x minus 5 equals 10 plus 6x. Now, in this case, we don't have to worry about our distributive property because we don't have any parentheses. If we look at each side has 2 terms. This has a variable term, constant term, variable term. So there isn't anything that we can combine on either side. So that means that we're going to be starting this example with step 3. Right? So we're going to get all variables on one side of the equation and numbers on the other. So I'm going to start with the suggested step up here, eliminate the number on the left side. So if we look at this, our number or our constant term on the left side is that negative 5. I'm going to get rid of that negative 5 by adding 5. Now when I do that, I know I have to do the same thing to the other side of my equation. And I'm going to line that up with my other term that's just numbers. Right? So we're going to keep numbers with numbers and variables with variables. On the left side, those are going to cancel, and we're going to be left with 9x. On the right side, 10 plus 5 is 15, and then we have plus 6x. So we've just done step 3. We eliminate the number on the left side of the equation. Right, now we're going to eliminate the variable on the right side of the equation. Right, so now we have 2 variable terms. We want to get rid of this extra term over here. So we're going to subtract 6x from each side. 9x minus 6x gives us 3x. 3x equals 15. Now we have our variable terms on one side, number term on the other. We're left with one last step. Step 4, we divide to get our variable all by itself. 15 divided by 3 equals 5. Again, if we want to check this problem, we're going to take our answer and plug it back into our original equation. 9 times 5 minus 5, right? And we want to see if that equals 10 plus 6 times 5. Well, 9 times 5 is 45. 45 minus 5 gives us 40. On the other side, 10 plus 6 times 5 is 30. 10 times 30 is also 40. So this one does indeed check. Right, so as we're working through these, again, you can interchange left or right. You can get rid of the number first. You can get rid of the variable first. It doesn't really matter. As long as you get all of your variable terms on one side, all of your number-only terms on the other side. And then once you do that, we divide by our coefficient to finish these off. Right, so in these next few problems, we're going to work through more of the same, going through the same steps. So for B, 2a plus 5 equals negative 4a plus 23. We're going to get rid of the number on the left, so we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. Those cancel. 2a equals negative 4a plus 18. 23 minus 5 gives us 18. Now we're going to get rid of our variable on the other side. So we're going to add 4a to both sides. 6a equals 18. Then we're going to divide both sides by 6. A equals 3. 18 divided by 6 gives us 3. So we got rid of the number on one side, then the variable on the other, and then we divided to finish it off. As you're going through these, again, it doesn't matter which one you choose, variable or number first, right or left first, right? As long as we get rid of 1 on one side and 1 on the other side. Right, so for C, 4w minus 5 equals 16 plus 7w. I'm going to add 5 to both sides first. 4w equals 21 plus 7w. Now I'm going to get rid of my variable on this side, so we're going to subtract 7w from both sides. Negative 3w equals 21. Divide by negative 3. W equals negative 7. Okay, and then last but not least, for example 1, x plus 2 equals 2 minus 3x. Subtract 2 from both sides to get rid of this. X equals, well, 2 minus 2 is 0. And so we have 0 minus 3x. Or you can just leave that 0 out altogether. We want to get rid of this variable that's on this side, so we're going to add 3x to both sides. 4x equals 0. Divide by our coefficient of 4. 0 divided by 4 is still 0. So as we're going through multi-step equations in section 9.3, get rid of variables on one side, numbers on the other side, divide to finish it out. Again, in these particular examples, we didn't have to worry about our distributive property or combining any like terms. In example 2 that we're going to see on the next page, we will talk about that distributive property and combining those like terms.